Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Maximilian College Basketball Conference Tournament Previews. And for today, we will be going over picks and analysis for the Big South Conference Tournament. And before we jump in, make sure, go ahead, like, subscribe, and check out all the other conference tournament previews up on my channel. But for today, we're going to be going over the Big South Tournament here, the structure, the odds board, and I got two picks here to win the conference. The bracket's pretty straightforward here. Thanks to Hoops HD, this was a nice little graphic here to use. There's one playing game on Wednesday. They're all taking place in Tennessee, so we are on a neutral venue. You get the one play in there to play High Point, and then the rest of the action is going to start on Friday in that first round, starting with a noon game too. And I mean, I don't know if you're High Point in the 1 seed. I don't know if you love the fact that you're slated for noon on a Friday. I don't know. It's just different, but weird things can happen. But I mean, they'll take care of business against Upstate or Gardner Webb, I would assume. Likely Upstate, I would think that they play. But yeah, that's the bracket here. Let's go ahead, take a look at the odds. Before we jump into this one, I think right away the odds are telling us, we're likely going to get High Point in the championship. They're minus 160. But the rest of the conference, especially the other side of the bracket, the Winthrop side, is what really intrigues me here for this tournament. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on mainly. So I am going to assume that High Point will find themselves in the championship on the top side of the bracket. But for the bottom side, I think we need to isolate that side because Winthrop, actually, they're plus 290, but I would not touch this one. The odds are expecting them, to get a rubber match with High Point in the championship, as they're both 1-1 in the series, the regular season series this year. So they would expect, a championship matchup between these two teams. But I'm not so sure. I'm not taking the plus 290 here, as last Thursday, Logan Duncombe suffers a foot injury, and his status is still TBD. We don't know. I haven't been able to find anything, but he didn't play in the last game. And it'd be a massive blow to lose him and his 18 points and 9 rebounds per game. And even if he does play, if you're not 100% healthy, that's absolutely going to handicap this team. So I do think the strategy here in this tournament is let's take a look at Winthrop's side of the board and look for some potential value. And the first team that stands out to me is the 7 seed, who they play in the first round, Charleston Southern there, sitting at 30-1 here on the odds board. Charleston Southern, I actually tweeted about this team last week, so you might have already seen it, but I talked about how this could be a dark horse in the Big South, as they're not as bad as their record shows. They've lost a ton of close games. They're 6-10 in the conference, but 5 of their 10 losses were in overtime. I mean, half of their losses came in overtime. That's pretty crazy. And they're 2-6 in games decided by just 2 possessions or less. So they just lost a ton of close games, which that can happen. You can get some bad luck, but, that can turn around on any given game as well. So I just don't think they're nearly as bad as their record shows. And their play style is designed to beat someone better than them, as they're first in offensive 3-point frequency and also first in defensive 3-point frequency, meaning they're going to shoot a lot more threes than they're going to allow to their opponents. And they shoot really well. They're first in the conference in 3-point efficiency, shooting 36.4%. Now, since they're giving up the fewest amount of 3-point attempts, only about 28.5% of opponent attempts are coming from deep. Obviously, that means opponents are going to be shooting a bunch inside the arc, and Charleston Southern's fine with that. They actually have the best 2-point defense in the conference. They're only allowing opponents to shoot 47% inside the arc, which is first in the Big South. So for the first play here, we are sprinkling Charleston Southern for a quarter unit at 30-1. Now, like I said, I want to focus on that side of the bracket. So the second team that I'm going to be making a case for here is Radford, the 3 seed, who would take on either Winthrop or hopefully Charleston Southern. Radford sitting at 13-1. This team's gotten progressively better as the season's gone on, and I do like the fact that they're on the same side as Winthrop as well. Radford, they were horrible to start the year, but I'm not surprised, that they struggled at first, because it takes time. The amount of, they had a bunch of roster turnover, and a first-year head coach, Zach Chu, with a super talented roster on paper here as well. So I'm not surprised they started slow. I'm also not surprised that they saw progression throughout the season. And eventually they find themselves here at the 3rd ranked offense in the Big South and 4th ranked defense. So, very balanced attack that they've put together this year. I like the combo of Del Jones, who they brought in from Clemson, and Dennis Parker, who they brought in from NC State, to potentially carry this squad. Like I said, they went out and paid a pretty penny for some of these guys, brought them in from big programs. So, and like I said before, they are on the same side as Winthrop. So I do think this presents an opportunity here. So I am going to go ahead and take Radford for half a unit at 13-1 and Charleston Southern a quarter unit at 30-1. Now, like I said, they will end up playing each other if they were to both win in the first round. But here I'm just looking, I think the value in this tournament isn't on necessarily taking a high point minus 160. It's who can make this championship game here on the bottom side of the bracket. And I think if we can get a Charleston Southern or a Radford in that championship game, then you present yourself with opportunities to monetize and hedge out of that ticket. So that's going to be my strategy for this one. I'm going Charleston Southern, a quarter unit 30-1, and Radford half a unit at 13-1. And that will do it for today's Big South Tourney preview and analysis. Thanks so much for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and check out my other conference tourney previews up on my channel. Best of luck, everyone, and thanks for watching.